Hello dear students, I, Dr. Karuna, will be discussing today on exam-oriented important concepts on Staphylococcus and Streptococcus species. So after this lecture, we will be able to classify gram-positive cocci, describe different species of gram-positive cocci, explain the laboratory diagnosis in detail, and answer viva questions very easily. So let's start with classification of gram-positive cocci. Gram-positive cocci is divided into two groups according to catalase test. The test which comes as positive, the organism will be divided according to that test. So, what is catalase test? Let's talk about this in brief. Catalase test is basically done to differentiate between different species of Staphylococcus and Streptococcus. This is an enzyme which is produced by bacteria, which ultimately break down hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen. Bacteria which survives in such oxygen-rich environment will process this enzyme catalase, ultimately breaking down hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen. This oxygen will create bubbles. This test is done in vitro to identify catalase positive organisms. So catalase positive organisms are Staphylococcus. However, catalase negative organisms are Streptococcus and Enterococcus species. So let's talk about important species of Staphylococcus. The first and foremost is Staphylococcus aureus, which is the most pathogenic bacteria among all the Staphylococcus species, causing HAI, hospital-acquired infection. Staphylococcus epidermidis is a normal skin flora, causes infection in those patients having implantation of prosthetic devices. Now, Staphylococcus saprophyticus. This causes UTI, urinary tract infection in young females. So now let's talk about Staphylococcus aureus characteristics. These species have Staphylococcus aureus has the characteristic of producing golden yellow colonies on nutrient agar and other media, culture media. It also shows coagulase positive, and they also have beta hemolysis characteristic on blood agar. It means complete hemolysis. It lyses the RBCs and digests the hemoglobin pigment, thereby producing clear zone on blood agar. So, Staphylococcus aureus has catalase positive and coagulase positive characteristics. Also, Staphylococcus epidermidis and Staphylococcus saprophyticus are regarded as coagulase negative Staphylococci species. Now, let's talk about coagulase. What is coagulase? Coagulase is basically an enzyme produced by bacteria Staphylococcus aureus. This enzyme ultimately helps bacteria to form clot, thereby converting fibrinogen into fibrin. This helps in forming a fibrin shield around the bacteria. This fibrin shield will ultimately help the bacteria to protect against phagocytosis. Okay, students, and also immune attack. Dear students, coagulase should be remembered as an important virulent factor of Staphylococcus aureus. Now, coagulase have two forms, bound and free. Bound is attached to cell wall of bacteria, Staphylococcus aureus, and free form is a secretory form. These two forms can be detected in this test. Like you can see a clumping factor over here, agglutination, which will be observed when plasma is mixed with coagulase producing bacteria. If this clumping factor is positive, then coagulase test is positive. You can do it on slide test as well as in tube test. So let's study about the diseases caused by Staphylococcus aureus. Children, you should know that Staphylococcus aureus is a major causative agent of healthcare associated infection, also known as nosocomial infections. It can cause variety of infections such as skin infections, suppose cellulitis. etc. Then it can cause food poisoning, other GIT infections, toxic shock syndrome, osteomyelitis, and abscesses. Abscess ultimately is a part of skin infections. Sepsis, CNS infections such as meningitis, brain abscess, endophthalmitis, osteomyelitis, chronic skin infections, as well as serious infections such as endocarditis can be caused. So students, in my upcoming part 2 of this gram-positive cocci exam-oriented concepts, we will be discussing about streptococcus and a comparative chart of Staph aureus and streptococcus pyogenes. Thank you.